So rapper T.I. finally confesses to being a snitch after doing a podcast explaining how where an altercation resulted in one of his very close friends or cousin end up being killed, and T.I. had to give information.
Police, pull us over. Pull us over. I have a gun. Why are we going through the court process? And so we caught no gun cases. 2 died. And, you know, my lawyer said, well, you know, I can make everything go away if it was Tramel's. After he had passed, I had a talk with him.
And what Toot say?
Toot say, I take all the charges you got. If you can walk away free and put it on me, goddamn right.
So is that what boys giving you shit about because you put it on?
No, hell no.
Okay.
Nah. Don't nobody even know about that. I just volunteered this. Don't nobody even know about that. I'm just being honest. Yeah. That's the only time
That you.
I done never said or gave no information about nobody, because that's my cousin, my big cousin. He was dead, and he told me that it was okay.
Now, as you listen to T.I., he's pausing and he's hesitant about revealing this information because he knows how he's going to be judged for releasing this information, how people are going to call him a snitch. He already know that in the streets, from a street nigga standpoint, your hood pass is revoked. He already know he would be canceled for what he about to say. He already feel wrong for what he's about to say. You could tell by the way he keep pausing. But Charleston White has applied so much pressure on T.I. and Lil Boosie that is forcing them to move in a very unusual way. See, Charleston White has so much power right now. He has so much influence over the younger generation and culture. See, he has used reverse psychology on a lot of the young boys, that he's drawing in the same audience that looked at these rappers as they were cool. Because these guys aren't the gangsters that they thought they were. These guys aren't the gangsters that we viewed them as growing up. He's changed the perception about these guys. As I said, being a gangster isn't profitable no more. A lot of them fake tough guys, they was just acting. Even the guys from the 90s, they were just acting. They was just characters. And Charleston White is exposing that. It's starting to show you those chinks in that armor. And he's forcing T.I. to admit that he's a snitch. Charleston White has a lot of access to information that he can expose me. So before this information get leaked out, I'm going to go ahead and set the record straight for myself. And that's what he did right here. From a civilian standpoint, I don't think there's nothing wrong with snitching or telling. But when you live by a street code, street niggas follow a different set of rules than us civilians go by. They play by a different set of rules than we do. Any form of talking to law enforcement is snitching. People have now changed the parameters of what a snitch is. Because if there was no issue, if there was no problem, then T.I. would have admitted to this years ago. So T.I. has been lying for so long. He's been portraying this gangster facade for years. There are some people who are defending T.I. No, you can't defend him. He got to take all the heat that he's getting. If he's being labeled a snitch and he's being shamed, he got to take that backlash and that scrutiny. He should have just admitted this years ago. But he waited because now it's starting to become normalized. They're changing the rules. So he's seen it as the perfect time to come out and say, you know what? I put the charges on my friend. Any form of talking to law enforcement is snitching. That's why his name is Tip, because he's been giving the police tips and information. And there are people who saying, oh, we're going to see if Lil Boosie has the same energy and Lil Boosie distanced himself from T.I. But Lil Boosie just going to ignore it. I think he's still going to be friends with T.I. But all while they're going to justify it. You know what they're going to say? Lil Boosie and them going to say, oh, well, that was his family. They're going to try to twist it. That's what they're going to do. They're going to try to twist it. Lil Boosie and them are going to say, it's a different scenario. It's a different situation. Man, this a different type of situation, man. That wasn't no street, man. They was at a club, man. They had got into an altercation at a club, man. That wasn't no street shit, man. That's different from what Gangsta did. Gangsta was in the streets, man. He snitched, man. Gangsta broke my heart, man. That's what he did. He snitched, man. That nigga snitched. He snitched on some real street niggas, man. When he did that, when I was locked up in Angola, he snitched on some real street niggas, man. See, T.I.'s situation was different. That was his close friend, so he had a right to snitch, man. See, it's different forms to snitching, man. And I'm surprised T.I. wasn't using big words. Yeah, well, you see, the information and the proclamation of me snitching, and see, I had to rest assured your natural inclination that I wasn't going to snitch and give some information. When the police came to the car, they asked for license and registration. I gave it to them with no hesitation. I told them that I would talk to them without proper representation. And when the cops told me that I could get off scot-free, I told them indubitably. I had a conversation with a guy and I told him, I'm like, I'm the biggest square of them all. I'm the biggest square that you seen thus far. Like, I'm a square. We play by a different set of rules. I snitch in a heartbeat. I'ma tell. If this was back during the time when T.I. was active in the streets, he know if he was labeled a snitch, he wouldn't be able to come back on the block. Snitching, that's not accepted. Any form of talking to law enforcement is snitching. Putting the bodies or, you know, putting the blame or anything, putting the charges on a person who's no longer here. That's still a form of snitching because it's talking to the police. But now they changing the rules.